Deb Polly,
Here.
Sarah Lanen,
Here.
Lauren Pedersen,
Here.
Rob Langheim, Molly Monyak,
Here.
Corinne Hennon,
Here.
Jenny Kuski.
Here. Okay, make sure your mics are on, you guys. And we have a special new guest with us, our student rep, and we will be swearing him in as an action item in a little bit in the agenda, and we'll find out more about him then. So we have Henry Brick with us, and so welcome, and we look forward to hearing more about you in a few minutes, okay? And at that time, well, maybe at this time, let's just go around and do a quick introduction for Henry's sake. So I'm Deb Polly. I met you the other day, and of course know who you are. So
Sarah Lanen, Lauren Pedersen, Corinne Hennon,
Jenny Kuski.
good. And then Rob Langheim is also a board member, and he's not able to be with us tonight. So we'll hear more from you in a few minutes. So, but welcome, and feel free at any point to ask questions or say, "What do you mean by that?" or whatever. Pardon?
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And then on your microphone, there's, you hit that and it turns green, then the public can hear us. So when you speak, make sure your green light is on, okay? Great. So we had roll call. The next thing we have to do is, because we went into closed session at the end of our August, August 9th meeting?
12th.
12, thank you. We went into closed session. When we came out of closed session, the purpose of the closed session was the evaluation of our superintendent, Renee K. Stevenson. By state statute, I have to read the results of that closed session. So I will read that now, and then this will go into Renee's file. So Superintendent Renee K. Stevenson evaluation 2023-2024. The School Board of District 717 completed an annual evaluation of Superintendent Renee K. Stevenson in July of 2024. All 7 board members responded to the survey. The appraisal period was for July 1, 2023 through June 30th of 2024. The evaluation directly correlated with the superintendent job description, the district strategic plan, and goals cooperatively set with the superintendent and the board of directors last year. The board met in closed session with Superintendent Evenson Monday, August 12th, to review the results of the evaluation. Superintendent Evenson was evaluated in the areas of educational leadership, board and community communication, culture of learning, public relations, and finance. Goals for Superintendent Evenson, mutually set for 23-24, were to operationalize the strategic plan, including facilitating year 1 of our building projects in the elementary and the high school, to monitor and facilitate district budgets to optimize and maintain programming and staffing, to support the development and implementation of programming to increase student achievement on a rating scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being unacceptable and 5 being outstanding performance. Evenson received an overall very positive score of 4.85. Her shared work toward the goals area was evidence of the positive achievements toward those goals. Examples are effective communications with all stakeholders regarding the progress of the construction projects, ongoing building of positive relations with the City of Jordan, successful contract negotiations within budget, a successful December audit showing a fund balance remaining intact and growing slightly, continued advocacy with MSBA, MASA, and C regarding legislative priorities, the addition of the surge program at the high school, and work toward implementation of the READ Act, integrating standards-based instruction in all content areas, with the intent of rolling out new ELA and math standards over the next few years, working on creating more inquiry-based lessons and project-based learning and STEAM opportunities for students, an enhanced MTSS framework to best support academic and behavioral needs of students. She was commended for always having our strategic plan front and center in all the work the district does. Her involvement and visibility in the schools and community was strongly noted in the comments. The board shared that they feel that the superintendent keeps them well informed and appropriately informed as needed. Her leadership of her administrative team was seen positively, assuring that she holds them accountable to ensure that we are maintaining high standards for our staff and students. As was noted, that we graduated a larger class last year, and with the unknown repercussions of the legislative mandates of the past session, emphasis over the next year will be on closely watching our budget and expenditures, which Superintendent Evenson is well aware of and doing. The board also requested more board education about student test data and the safety and mental health of students and staff. So we'll be talking more about that. Also requested was more in-depth conversations about what happens in SNAP classes, how the school counselor helps students navigate their options for a career path, and engaging and guiding parents in helping with those decisions. The board expressed its gratitude and confidence in Superintendent Evenson leading District 717, and they shared that they are appreciative of her and the work she does on behalf of our students and families. So thank you. And then we also set the mutual goals for 2025. Cooperatively, we had that discussion with Superintendent Evenson in closed session. And mutually, we agreed that the 24-25 goals would be, one, to operationalize the strategic plan ongoing, including pride in facilities, and it would be specifically to facilitate year 2 of the building projects, planning within budget, city partnerships, communications and operations, transitioning between project phases, enhancing safety and security across the district. Second bullet point was pride in student support and pride in staff support, to monitor and facilitate district budgets to optimize and maintain programming and staffing, to manage budget projections and next steps for recommendations to the board in the spring of 2025. Continued focus on fiscal responsibility and maximizing budgets and grant opportunities available to support staff and students. Legislative financial impacts, navigating the unknowns, which we're all very well aware of, and the negotiations processes. And the last mutual goal was to support the development and implementation of programming to increase student achievement, to and including year 2 of the SURGE program, further implementation of the READ Act, language access plan, and to highlight how culture for learning impacts student achievement. And examples include cell phone procedure implementation, which we'll have to ask Henry to share some insight on at some point, and then regular updates on student data, goals, and progress. So that is the report. This will be for your file.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments or questions?
Did you compile that report?
Pardon?
Like that report, did you compile that, or how does that, where did all that stuff come from?
Well, the notes that you took in closed
Yep.
session that night, those were very clearly delineated in there. And then the the other points were taken directly out of your comments of the evaluations that you
Yeah, okay, that's what I
submitted.
was wondering, because I was like, my thing was not that long. So I figured you took it out of the comments.
No, it was
so I
a
wanted to make-
compilation, and then it
Yes,
was,
okay.
including the first part was highlighting her goals from the year before, so we knew what we were evaluating
Yes,
her on.
okay.
So, okay, good,
Thanks.
good question. Okay, any other questions, comments? Just, thank you, thank you. Okay, the next thing we have is, we don't have any pride awards, do we, or do we?
Just you guys.
Oh,
And I feel like we're missing a name up there.
You are.
It's yours. Yours name is missing.
Oh my
I
gosh.
thought maybe you weren't coming, so that's why you weren't listed.
No.
I did
am
too until I
so
saw you
sorry.
here, and then I'm like,
I just thought you were gonna be absent.
Gonna be edited? We'll edit that. Oh my goodness.
okay, I'll turn it over to you.
Great start. As the group notes, attention to detail for, yeah, I glanced at it after it was typed in and I should have looked more closely. My apologies. Okay, well, so typically MSBA does school board appreciation in February. And this year they have shifted it up to do it in September, and honestly, I love that. Because back to school is a perfect time with all the busyness and all of the things that are happening, I think to honor our school board members. And the theme this year is public school boards have heart. If I were to describe this board, each and every one of you, that's a perfect description. With the heart that goes into the work that you do, the reading of the board packets, I don't think folks realize sometimes they're hundreds and thousands of pages, without exaggeration. The time dedicated, not just to come twice a month to these meetings, this is the easy part, but all of the stuff that happens in between to support our students, to support our staff, to attend the myriad of committees and events, all of the dedication and time, it has such a tremendous impact on our students and also on our community. So a lot of gratitude from me personally. I'm grateful every day to have your partnership, and I know that when I speak, and I can speak very confidently for our kids and our staff, we are grateful for you as a school board. So I'd like to present each of you with a certificate of appreciation for your dedication to our students and public education in Minnesota. And so as I call your name, I would have you come up. I'm going to ask Amy to take a picture. We'll step over to the step and repeat quick. Take a picture and then come back. Is that okay? All right. Amos, you're going to take a picture. Or want to use your phone or mine? I can use mine. Okay, do that. Okay. So, Chair Deb Polly.
Okay. I just want to note, I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow morning.
You're getting a hug. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Timing of all of this.
Oh my goodness, Sarah Lanen. I had mine done Thursday, so I'm very confident in this activity. Oh God.
I'll just get Lauren.
Right? Lauren Pedersen. Okay. Thank you so much. Glad to have you back in Minnesota. Molly Maniak.
I don't care what my hair looks like.
Thank you so much for everything that you do. We're grateful. We appreciate it. Rob Langheim couldn't join us tonight, but I have equal amounts of gratitude for Rob. Corinne Hennon. It is a long walk. Yeah, it's like, thank you for everything. I'm grateful. Jenny Kuski. Thank you so much. Grateful. Appreciate it. Henry, I'm going to have you walk over here. We're going to get your picture with the group too, a second picture, before we swear you in real quick. Oh, sure. Okay. All right. So we're going to take our picture, but we're also going to have Henry jump in a second, so let me grab him. Yeah. Okay. All right. So ready? Yes. You guys know what to do. On 3. 1, 2, take 5. Good. Don't move. Okay. I'll take your certificate. Okay. Henry jump in. Where? In the middle? Yeah. Right there. I think, yeah, because you're the tallest. Sure. Yeah. By quite a bit. Yeah. Oh, this is perfect. Me too. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. One. Thank you. Okay. You bring Lauren first too. Oh, yes. Thank you.
I was gonna sit in Sarah's spot. My jacket on, but it's too warm.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Superintendent Evenson. And I just want to echo, we really do have a phenomenal community and a phenomenal board, so. That's good, thank you. Okay, the next item, nobody indicated that they wanted to speak for public comments, so we have the consent agenda items. We have the minutes from August 12th, regular meeting, and August 26th, workshop meeting, monthly finance reports that Amy has prepared for us. We have a lot of donations. Resolution on donations is a donation from Mighty Cause, JES Backpack Program, $45. Riverland Bank, run-of-the-mill, $200. Bacarna Meat Market, run-of-the-mill, $200. Ratwig, Rozak, and Maloney, staff breakfast, $250. That was really nice. City Hall Creamery, run-of-the-mill, $200. Hometown Bank, run-of-the-mill, $200. Penny Family Chiropractic, run-of-the-mill, $200. Quatman Inc., run-of-the-mill, $200. Superior Contracting, run-of-the-mill, $200. Franson Bank and Trust, run-of-the-mill, $200. Albrecht Masonry, run-of-the-mill, $200. Jake's Barbershop, run-of-the-mill, $400. Chiropractic Specialist, run-of-the-mill, $200. Jordan Fire Department Web Program donation, $1,000. All-in-One Delia's Authentic, run-of-the-mill, $200. Jean and Thomas Verdienst, the Clay Target donation of $300. And Jackie and Tad Tuies, I don't know if I said that right, Jordan Middle School projector and screen. So we're very grateful for these very generous donations. So that's a resolution to accept those donations. We have policies. These are policies that we talked about in our workshop meeting. Policy 626, the early entrance to kindergarten policy. 902, the use of school facilities and equipment that Director Bond went through with us as far as the use of the CERC and the other facilities. And then the elimination of policy 902.1. We have the new hire, elementary school building engineer Brian Bedney. He comes in at a grade 1, step 3. New hire, elementary school lunchroom supervisor Ann Trovella Vaughn comes in at grade 2, step 4. We're asking for approval of a leave of absence for middle school special ed paraprofessional Lori Shanus and resignation of elementary school grade 1 teacher Madeline Malika. I will entertain a motion to approve
Motion to approve.
consent. Thank you.
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, what is the web design program? Refresh my memory. The fire department donation?
I think the is that what they do with the 8th grade and the 5th grade when they're coming in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like the 8th graders mentor the 5th graders when they
Yep.
come in for that like first day.
Where everybody belongs.
Yeah.
Web.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, Briggs was
Okay.
a web leader last year.
Okay.
Good question. I didn't know that either. So.
What are we doing in the interim with the resignation of grade 1 teacher?
This was received this summer. It's the first public meeting we've had since.
Got
it's
it.
staffed.
Okay. So we're staffed. We're fine.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
totally. All right.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving consent signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. And we have a very exciting, wonderful opportunity next. We have our new student representative, Henry Brick. So Henry, I'm going to call you up here to the microphone. And we will swear you in, and then I will give you an opportunity. Is this on, Stephen?
It was.
And then we will give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself. So Henry, it is an honor that you were selected to be student member of the school board. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as an ex officio member of the board. This position provides you the opportunity to be the voice of our students and families in regards to the quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to help fulfill roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In supporting vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure. It creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. As a board, we must be accountable to the community. We must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for our schools. So, I ask you to put up your hand and repeat after me. I swear that I will support
I swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and of the state of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of student member
of student member
of the school board
of the school board
of Jordan Public
of
Schools
Jordan Public Schools
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Amen.
Yeah, I do.
Yes. Okay. Have you sign right there and date. Today's what, 9/9?
9/9.
Okay. Go ahead. And we'll sign here. So just a little bit about the process, and you can chime in here. Mr. Visner, in the spring of the year,
Yeah.
I believe, puts out a notice of saying, asking if anybody is interested, and then you fill out like an application. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, towards the spring of last year, Mr. Visner, the high school principal, set out a notice to the social studies teachers of the grades from junior to senior year, and basically presenting this opportunity to any student who is interested. Now, naturally, I'm in youth and government, and I love public advocacy and whatnot, so I applied. And on the last day of school, Mr. Visner pulled me aside from my Spanish class and told me that he would love to select me for this position. And I ran home that day and told my mom. And then he told.
Good you didn't text her from school.
It's not on my phone. Yeah. So then this beginning of the school year, or towards the end of summer, Mr. Visner emailed me on my school email and told me, it was like, hey, you're going to be sworn in on 9/9 on the first public meeting of the school board this year. And yeah, so here I am. I'm so excited to start this opportunity. I know some of you personally, most of you, I know your children, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm a junior at the high school. I'm involved with things such as youth and government, conference on national affairs. I did a national judicial competition this year. I also enjoy sports such as golf, trap shooting, and I play on the basketball team. And I'm really excited to start this opportunity with you guys. It's going to be a great, hopefully, 2 years.
Good, yes,
Welcome.
yes.
Great job.
We're very excited. Thank you, Henry. And just as a side note, we use a lot of acronyms, like MASA, MASA, MS. Don't ever hesitate to say, hey, what does that stand for? And don't ever hesitate to ask questions when we're talking about something and you need clarification. And we most definitely, we as a board want your input. So, thank you. Welcome aboard. It's exciting. Okay, next we have review and act on the district kids company coordinator contract, Superintendent Evenson.
Chair Polly, members of the board, tonight we have attached the Kids Company Coordinator contract. This is the last of the singletons that are out there before the principals, and then we're done with the complete cycle. The contract brought forward is in alignment with all of the others, all of the other parameters and within budget. Year 1, a 3.5%, year 2, a 3.5%. Bringing things like the health insurance component and deferred compensation into alignment with all of the other contracts. And I believe the cell phone as well, I think we raised that from $25 to $30 as well. So my recommendation would be to approve.
Any questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the District Kids Company Coordinator contract.
Motion.
I'll-
Go ahead.
Jenny?
I'll approve.
I'll give it to Jenny.
Second.
Second, Lauren. Good. Discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, levy limitations and certification, and this is the resolution one, correct, Amy? Yes. Okay.
Wow, can't believe it's this time of year again.
I know.
So every year we have to certify the proposed levy by September 30th. So this year we are certifying the 2024 payable 2025 levy, which will be for the levy for next school year. And so what happens is I have to go into the levy information system and I update our health benefits information, any pupil transportation, elementary sparsity, secondary sparsity, building and land lease. And then the Southwest Metro, we lease some with them, so they go in and put their original costs in. And then I also update the debt service and also the general community service. So the first levy run comes out in early September. The districts have until September 30th. We can make any changes inside that levy information system if needed, but we have to approve it by September 30th. So for this year, the report just came out Friday afternoon. And so for the 24 payable 25 levy, we had an overall increase of 1.35% in the general fund, a 5.58% increase in the community service fund, and the debt service fund had a decrease of 0.53% for an overall total levy increase of 0.14%. So MDE will they're going to run new reports. Sometimes they run them daily if districts have changes, or for sure weekly, and I'll always update them. But as of today, our levy is a total change. So our, in dollars for 24-25, the general fund is 2.869 million for a percent increase change of 1.35. The community ed service fund is $131,925 for an increase of 5.58%. And the debt service is $5,090,000 for a decrease of 0.53%. It is my recommendation that the board approve the maximum levy authority. This is normal standard practice for most districts around the state and allows our district to take advantage of the maximum allowable funding through the state and local sources. So we're going to make the resolution tonight. The formal certification form is not out on the website yet, so Jenny will have to come into the office and sign it once it's out. It was supposed to be out by today. I checked at 6 o'clock. It wasn't out there yet. But I am making the recommendation that you approve the max, and then I will send in the proper papers to the MDE and also to our county auditor by September 30th.
Okay,
Amy-
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Jenny, is there a second?
Second.
Sarah? Okay, now discussion, questions.
Can you just remind us what debt services covers?
Debt
I'm
service.
like, what does that cover?
Debt service covers all of our bonds. So the new, the elementary education, the renovation, that bond came on last year. So that's on there. We have a refunding bond that's happened in 2020. We had an abatement bond that happened in 2023. And there's maybe a couple others, refunding bonds, because we refunded the 2014 middle school building. And so I think there's at least 2 refunding bonds for that. But all that debt service is, it just goes to pay our yearly bond payments, and that's what's supposed to be in our debt service fund.
Other questions? No other questions? Okay, even though we don't have the official resolution, we're going to do a roll call vote so that when Jenny comes in to sign the resolution, we will have approved these dollar amounts and the 1.14% increase.
Yep, so, but we're gonna
To the max.
approve the max,
The
because
max,
it could
yes.
change, but chances are it's not going to.
Right.
I was
the
pretty
max,
happy with
correct.
this.
Okay, so, any further questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Sarah Lehman,
Yes.
Lauren Pedersen,
Yes.
Rob Langheim, Molly Maniak,
Yes.
Corinne Hennon,
Yes.
Jenny Kuski,
Yes.
Deb Polly.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, next we have the finance update, and that was the next, the VPK and the bus contract and the budget update that Amy will be filling us in on.
So there's a lot of things going on in our office right now. Carolyn can attest to VPK. So VPK has been, it stands for Voluntary Pre-Kindergarten. Jenna Wendorf, our ELS director, has always applied for it, but we've never gotten it. It's just something that happens. The criteria was always based, a child has to be 4 years old by September 1st. They have to qualify for free and reduced lunch. They have to be an EL learner, an American Indian, has experienced homelessness in the last 24 months, is in foster care or other child protected services, has a parent who is a migrant or seasonal laborer, has a parent who is incarcerated, or is identified as as at risk by the school district. So Jenna Wendorf, like I said, she always applies every year. So last year at the end of the school year, it's maybe like in April or May, Jenna got an email that said for fiscal year 24, which was last year, we were awarded 4 seats. So with that comes a lot of reporting. So they have to report them up. Those classes have to be reported in Mars differently. So in the 2024 legislative session, there was an expansion of the VPK seats. There were 4,200 seats that were set to expire at the end of 2024 that were made permanent, and also an additional 5,200 seats. So due to the additional seats, we were notified that we now received 100 seats for this fiscal year. And for as far as we can tell, the only criteria as of right now is the child has to be 4 years old by September 1st. 5-year-olds can still be in that class, but we're not going to get funding for them. So the 5-year-olds that are in that are in those preschool classes, they still need to pay. But the funding stream for VPK is through those funds go through the general fund. The students that generate this aid will qualify for ADMs. We believe this is a 1-year program that it's going to generate additional funding for our school district to offset costs of the programming. And so there are some things that we have to keep in mind. If we don't use all the 100 seats, we have to return them, either permanently or temporarily, to MDE. And we have to know that by October 1st of how many seats we're going to keep or give back. The students need to be reported differently in Mars. They're now part of the elementary school, they're in classes, so forth. And then we have to count their instructional hours. So if they have a total instructional hours of 510 hours per year, they're going to generate 0.6 ADM. If they have 425 instructional hours, they generate 0.5 ADM. And if they generate 350 instructional hours, they generate 0.41 ADM. So right now, we appreciate this opportunity for our families. We'll continue to learn about this as the year goes on, but we wanted to make you aware that this is going to increase our general fund. But the expenses for those classes also have to come out of the general fund, but there may be a little of a net increase. It's a lot of more accounting or just more tracking for us, just something that we're not used to.
How many additional hours of work is this going to add, and to what staff does it add it to?
Well, it adds to me, and it adds to Jenna, and it adds to Carolyn. You know, the biggest part for us was learning, like Carolyn is new to Mars. She's been with the district for 3 years. She's never had to add a class, so now we added classes to the elementary school. When I give my monthly enrollment update with my state aid dollars, I'm not including those dollars yet because I don't know yet for sure. One thing for sure, we have to wait until October 1st to see if we have to return any. I'm advising Jenna to only return them temporarily, but.
Is one seat like one student? Is
One
that the
seat
equivalent
is
of?
one student,
Okay.
and then depending upon how many hours that class is for the year, depends upon how much ADM they get.
And then ADM stands for?
Yeah, I was
Adjusted
gonna-
daily membership. So like when I tell you our ADM for this year was 1815 for fiscal year 24, that's what we got. That includes all of our students served. It includes our ECSE kids, and it includes our residents that are tuitioned out. That means there are residents, but they go to a special eds somewhere else. So we still get that aid, we end up paying it out, but they're still our kids.
And we get funding,
We
From
get
the
funding.
state.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
So that's
like-
why it's,
So we do have, I think there's maybe one class that does have the 510 hours. So like they'll generate 0.6 of $7,281.
So like, for your sake, like a high school student is considered a 1.0.
1.2.
ADM, which, 1.2.
1.2. So they get the
Okay.
$7,281 times
Plus
1.2.
One, times 1.2.
That's grade
So
7
that's
through 12.
the money that the state pays our district for a high school student, full-time
Yes.
high school student.
Oh,
So-
so it's like their value on the formula.
Yes, so-
Got it.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that
it's
makes
a
so
value
much
on the
more
formula.
sense.
Okay, yes, it's the
So,
value on the formula.
Can I interject? So I think last spring you did a really great update. There were slides about what is ADM, like what is the
Yeah.
language. And so I think the biggest takeaway about ADM is it doesn't equate student per student because some students cost more to educate. And so that's where the high school 1.2 looks different. So the question always comes up, if we have 1,785 students, why don't we have 1,785 in ADM? And that's why.
So, question. Because is preschool, like, they're not full day every day, right? Like, it's 3
Correct.
days
Yes.
a week or whatever.
So it's hours a year.
Yeah, so that's why they have, like, the instructional hours versus,
Yes.
Yep.
like, okay.
But
Exactly that.
one thing that I found amazing was they can count their lunchtime if the teacher eats with them and talks about school.
So does it help if we, like, I mean, I don't even know if we could off this, but, like, if you had full-time, like, every day, all day? Like, is that an option?
It would be, but we don't have the capacity
we
right
don't have
now.
the
Yeah,
space this year.
okay.
Hopefully
then-
we'll have capacity to add after phase 2, at least a couple of spaces.
So no matter what their hours are, like, if a kid's at 350, they still count as one of the seats?
Yes. It
Okay.
just, and
It's a
based
fraction
on the
of the
different
seat.
classes that we have to build into the Infinite Campus, that's the ADMs that they build, or that they're gonna generate. And so based on that, like, the person at MDE, they're entering those ADMs to the system for us. We can't manipulate that like I can, not manipulate, but I can't enter that like I can other K through 12.
what are we looking at right now for those 100?
That's what I was wondering, too.
I think
Yeah,
we
I
have
was gonna
11
ask.
open yet,
Okay.
or at least that was last week. I haven't talked to Jenna
Yeah.
today.
But ADM doesn't equal seat, right? So if it's a
No.
.5
No.
ADM, that
Correct.
doesn't give us 2 seats to
No.
equal 1.
In terms
No.
of
That's just-
seats,
It's
we
100.
have 11 open right
Yep,
now.
we have 11,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, and some of the seats might be at the .4, and
Yep.
some of the seats will be at the .6.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the funding is different for them, but the number of we have 11 spots tentatively
That's
open
correct.
for students that could get free preschool.
Well, and that's where Amy is tentative about even estimating how much revenue we'll generate, because we just don't know yet. It's complicated. So,
But normally, we don't get that, like, .6, .5, .4.
None of it.
None of it.
Because the families are paying for the preschool.
Yep. And so like last year, for fiscal year '24, we were awarded 4 seats. Of those 4 seats, we generated 2.14 ADMs.
Oh, okay.
And so Jenna would be giving back the 11 seats potentially if we don't fill them? Is that what you're advising, like?
Like
Temporary.
Yep, she can give them back temporary in case there's someone
that
moves
moves.
into the district and wants to, and is 4 years old.
So
and
we
wants
still
to
have it
do-
for that full year?
They still have that. Yep.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, as this is so new, I really appreciate the update on that. I mean, I've not dealt with this. A lot of districts haven't, because they just haven't been approved for it, so.
And this, as far as we know, is just this year, one time.
The criteria for
The
this year is, yep, and it
It's
could be,
different.
So we
from what I hear,
may
it's gonna
not
go
have-
back to normal next
Yeah.
year, so we may not have it.
Yeah.
But
But it is good to take advantage of it. It's a big opportunity for our families in our district. It's worth it.
definitely.
Yep.
How do parents find out about this program?
We've communicated directly with parents with that age student,
Okay.
and I believe on social media too.
Mhm.
Other comments? They open enroll, like if you don't live in
Yes.
Jordan?
We have
And I
some that
bel-
have.
Yep, I believe that we did have some that came here just for that.
Sweet.
And I think maybe one reason why we did get it too is because we've always applied for them, even though we never got it. We've just always Jenna has always filled out the applications. And so I think districts that even never did, they just didn't. And so that helped us get as many seats as we did as well, because we just always filled out the applications.
I remember being excited we got 4, so there's that. So,
Super exciting that we now got 100.
yeah.
Yeah, good job, Jenna.
Yep.
And the criteria
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
a change too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments about the VPK program?
Okay.
Thank you.
On to transportation. So, I'm just going to provide a quick update with our contract with Benjamin Bus. So we currently have a 4-year contract with Benjamin Bus, and when the contract was approved in May of 2022, the district had a 4.5% increase in years 1 and 2 of that contract, but the last 2 years were dependent on CPI, which is Consumer Price Index. So we are now starting year 3. So I've met with Benjamin Bus, with Eric, and so we've agreed upon a 3% increase on regular routes, and that's what was built into the budget. The only difference is last year we had 11 routes, and this year we had 12 routes. And I asked Eric, and I found out about this after I updated the board. But we have 12 routes, so we're having a 3% increase on regular transportation on the regular routes, and then also a 4% increase on our daily, regular special ed routes. So like there's special education routes that he goes and picks up students in needs, and we have that. So that's gonna be a 4% increase. So this isn't an action item, I just wanted to update you on that, and that's for this year. And so, next year and next summer, Eric and I will meet again and decide what to do about next year.
Any questions?
Is that normal? Like average for other districts?
Can I say no? Because other districts pay a lot more than we do.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump
No,
in,
that's
but.
fine.
No, that's fine. I was
It's
just wondering.
absolutely incredible, the relationship, longstanding relationship our district has had with Benjamin Bus. They go above and beyond. In fact, I always have people reach out to me and say, wait, what do you get for a rate? They cannot believe it. I've had 2 already this year. So, they are great partners for us. They bend over backwards for our students, and make absolutely everything work. So, a lot of gratitude.
Other questions? Okay, moving on.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a brief update, a budget update for our general fund revenue. So in June, the adopted budget was presented to the Board of Education and approved. In taking a quick look at our general fund revenue, specifically the state aid dollars, I wanted to let the board know of some key factors that I'm keeping a close eye on and will throughout the year. So right now, the state aid formula, we had an allowance increase of 2%, which we already know that, which is $7,281 ADM for grades K through 6, and $8,737 for grades 7 through 12. Our kindergarten enrollment is currently at 111 students. We graduated in 2024, a class of 174. Our enrollment has increased. The beginning of the year is challenging, a lot of enrollments and a lot of withdrawals. But here's where we are today. So the high school received an additional 25 students, middle school an additional 20 students, and the elementary school an additional 21 students. Originally, I had budgeted for 1,782 adjusted ADMs, and we are currently at 1,797 in grades K through 12. With this increase of enrollment, it will potentially mean an additional $190,000. Some considerations: with all budget projections, there are many factors to keep in mind. Our enrollment is going to keep fluctuating throughout the year. The numbers above do not reflect the VPK numbers, and the numbers do not reflect ECSE students at resident student tuitioned out. The estimated number is just our general ed state aid dollars. So a couple things that I will be doing, which I do every year, I'll keep a close watch on the enrollment, and our revenue and expenditure budgets will be revised and also reviewed with the Board of Education periodically, and hopefully a full budget revision will be brought forward in February or March.
Well, this is good news. The enrollment is, I mean, I was really worried with us graduating that, the biggest class we've ever graduated. I was really concerned about our numbers and lack of funding coming in our ADM as a result of that. But the fact that we're up 15 students is just really, really good. So it's good news.
It is, it's very good news. So,
So for like projected budget, does that mean we're not in the red potentially?
maybe not as much.
Okay.
It's a big help.
It looks a lot better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It-
I mean, it's like 200, I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't it like 300,000
Yep.
over or something? And now
Yep.
we're like
Yep.
200,000 closer, so,
Yes,
okay.
this is good news.
It's
And that's
very
without
good.
preschool?
That's
we ha-
without the VPK.
Yep, we
yes.
haven't even considered, I mean, that could be revenue as well. So
Yep.
we're monitoring it, but this is definitely a better outlook than we had earlier.
We still have to closely watch the repercussions of all the mandates of
Mhm.
Yep.
the last legislative
Yep,
session.
and it's a new legislative session this year, so,
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't know what that'll bring.
yeah.
How
I
does
mean,
the
this is good
funding,
news.
how does it pay out per year, or like throughout the year? Do we get a certain percent each month? Okay,
So-
so if we have students drop out, then we don't get that funding, so that's the fluctuation?
So what happens is like, so with the levy like with the levy information system, there's a system that's called Adamwe, where I go in and I enter our projected enrollment. And so when the levy information closes, then then the state is gonna prorate our metered payments on those numbers.
Okay,
And then we'll do catch-up at the end of the year,
based on the final numbers?
based on the final
Okay.
numbers, yep. That's kind of like what I'm working on right now with our audit. It's actually what I did. I figured out how much we received for last year and how much we really need to receive, and
Is that like on a monthly thing, or is it like?
we get 2
on the
payments
year?
every month
Okay.
from MDE, which are called our ideas payments.
Okay,
And that's what we get. And that includes our gen ed aid, our special ed aid, and all the components of that.
okay, so it's not, so it fluctuates.
So we
a little
always
bit more
have money.
accurately.
We always have money we always have we have cash control.
Yeah.
So,
And we monitor enrollment very closely, and we have some state requirements. So if a student is a no-show for 15 days, with MARS, we're required to drop that student so that we're not claiming aid on that student. So it's a constant monitoring of attendance and all of that, and that's, 15-day drop.
What if you have a student who's like severely sick or something like that, that they aren't?
there's a special state aid category for those.
Yeah, we can report it that way.
Yep.
But if a student is a no-call, no-show,
Okay.
we have to drop.
15 days in a row.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
Exactly, yep.
Yep. Anything else?
Any other questions or comments? Okay,
You can always reach out if you have any questions.
great. Thank you. You were a good news lady tonight. Thank you. Our next item is the MSBA legislative resolutions, and I will turn this over to Superintendent Evenson.
Okay. So at our latest work session, we talked a little bit about the resolution process and what resolutions we might want to bring forward as a group for Jordan Public Schools. And so following that feedback, I worked with MSBA on the submission of, and the drafting, I should say, the drafting of 2 proposed resolutions. The first one I'd like to reference is a proposed resolution, and it is, be it resolved, MSBA urges the legislature to reestablish and prioritize local control for school districts by fully funding or eliminating the 2023 educational mandates, and future funding added to the formula not tied to mandates and restrictions. So I received a call from MSBA, and they liked the proposal. They had said that, they didn't have anyone else submit for this particular language at this time, and made some suggestions about things that I could shift around in this to make it a stronger proposal, and so that's what's attached currently. One area that I was more articulate in with this one is clarifying that in my communication with the legislators, that they mentioned how important it is that if you bring forward ideas, to have solutions as well. Particularly, it's nice to say we want this to happen, but what are your thoughts about how we fund it and things like that? So, which I understand that it's not necessarily our job to do that, but I was more than happy to recommend a couple of different things that they could do within that. So the first resolution is that, and do we want to do these separately? So it is a resolution, so it would be a roll call vote, and what would happen is, once we do that, then there would be one for our clerk to sign, and then we would submit it tomorrow morning to MSBA, and they will take it from there.
Yeah, and then what happens at the MSBA level is that our lobbyists, Kim Lewis and Denise Dietrich, they get many resolutions from across the state, from all the districts, and they compile them, and like if there's duplicates, they work with the districts to, either have them combine them or change them or whatever. And then they meet with the Minnesota School Boards Association Board of Directors, and they go through every single resolution, and at that board table, they have a discussion about it, and they vote on if these resolutions will be brought forward to the delegate assembly, which Lauren and myself are delegates to, which happens in December. And then at delegate assembly, the delegates actually vote on the resolutions, and if they pass, then they become part of the resolution package that the lobbyists actually, that's their foundation for what they do when they meet with the legislators. Like if they're lobbying for whatever the topic is, those are the things that support the work that they do. So, you want to comment, Lauren, at all?
No, you summarized that perfectly, but that's probably one of my favorite things that I do on the school board is that MSBA thing in the first weekend of December. It's really interesting. It's a big learning process.
What happens after they lobby with the
Well,
representative? Then, do they decide if they're going to
Advocacy.
write a?
They have a platform.
it's the platform, and that's what they use when they meet with, with Representative Bakeberg or any of the legislators, and they will use that foundation as the argument for why it's important that they put, make this a law or don't make this a law, or put this in, into
Like one of
a
their
law.
bills or?
Into the bills.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. So they're advocating for the legislature to write bills
Yep.
pertaining to this. So that's why advocacy is so important. And, school boards they have a very unique role because you are so connected to the school and the community, but it's such a powerful voice to help make change, and it's so important because you're closest to the schools. You're an amazing group to advocate for the betterment of our schools.
So at times, like when they're having an argument, not an argument, but arguing a case on a education bill, the education subcommittee will meet, and then our lobbyists will be asked to speak to or, for or against a particular bill. And then oftentimes they have school board members, like I've gone down and testified before the committees and stuff. And just as an FYI, Henry is very involved with YIG, Youth in Government, so a lot of this is probably very familiar to the things that you've learned in YIG. So.
And then just for clarity, what we approve, or if we approve the resolution, we're approving it to move forward to the next step.
Correct.
We're not, this doesn't go in, this
Nope.
isn't now something
No.
that we're doing.
This just
So this
approves
is
the
just
submittal.
approving. Yep.
Right.
For consideration. Yep.
So any questions or comments about this particular resolution, what it says, if you're comfortable, are you comfortable with supporting it.
And they really liked the language of reestablish and prioritize. That's one thing they commented on. You know, because that's been kind of a consistent thing they've heard across the state. So they were really hopeful that this would be one we'd submit.
And I like the solutions in here that were proposed. I think there were several very realistic solutions proposed in here that they
Yep.
could evaluate and look
Yep.
at, so,
Definitely options.
yes.
Okay, great. Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's
What?
roll call, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I'll entertain a motion.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Lauren, is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll give it to Molly. Okay, roll call, any more discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Lauren Pedersen,
Yes.
Rob Langheim, Molly Maniak,
Yes.
Corinne Hennon,
Yes.
Jenny Kuski,
Yes.
Deb Polly,
Yes,
Sarah Lehnen.
Yes.
thank you, motion carries. Okay, we have one more resolution.
We
Superintendent
do.
Evenson.
Okay, so the second one is one that we talked about in relation to the unemployment insurance for non-licensed staff. And, you know, our thought was, we really need to create a permanent funding stream for that, or eliminate the mandate. And so this one I submitted as a draft so they could kind of give input and feedback based on what they're seeing from other school districts. And one of the things that they recommended as well was beefing up the backstory, you know, thinking about what that looks like, because I did have some potential solutions to bring forward, but they also specifically reached out to share that Becker Public Schools, their superintendent, Jeremy Schmidt, had proposed a very similar resolution. And in looking at Jeremy's resolution, which I printed out for you because I didn't have it when this packet was released on Friday, one of the things that we talked about was potentially having the Jordan School Board sign on to Becker's. And as I look at this, that would honestly be my recommendation. And one of the things that you know, makes me feel that way is there is some conversation about, you know, one of the things that I argued was that, you know, it creates this burden, it's unfunded in that, but currently it's still funded. Remember, they gave $137 million for this endeavor, and I think in the first year they used somewhere around in the 40s, like $40 million. I haven't heard what we used this last year, but she felt that we'd have a stronger argument, the way I wrote it, in a year, when we actually know what that feels like and find out, you know, when the money has run out on that. But we still could be very active in our advocacy, the way Becker Public Schools designed theirs. So my recommendation as I read it, I really, really liked the Becker resolution, and I would recommend that we sign on to Becker's. And what that would look like would just be a resolution to sign on to Becker's. And then I would submit that forward as well. And what I would do is have Jenny sign this on the bottom as well and just submit it that way. And then if there's anything else MSBA needs, I would just reach out to the board chair and to Jenny.
So just a couple side comments from sitting in on MSBA's chats, Tuesday morning chats and board chair chats and stuff. Every district has said that the number of people from last year to this year that has applied for unemployment has skyrocketed. And another thing that I hadn't even thought of, but in last week's board chair coffee and conversation, multiple districts on there said that many of their staff applied for the unemployment and took it all through the summer, and the week right before school quit. So the schools were left
Yep.
scrambling to fill those positions.
I heard that as well.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that
Yeah, I
aspect
mean,
of it.
it's completely, they completely can do it, the
Yeah,
way
they
that it's
can.
structured right now. And I haven't heard that that's happened to us, but I know it's happened around the state.
Yep.
The administrative undertaking for this, if for somebody like in Katie Damlow's position, the additional paperwork, and back and forth, it's significant. And so, I mean, not only are there challenges about staffing summer programs and the unknown costs to districts, but it is administratively, comprehensive. It takes a lot,
Besides the money.
besides the money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. So I would recommend that we sign on to Becker's. I think that one is excellent. And then that would move forward.
Questions or comments or clarifications for anybody?
So it was funded last summer, and then this summer to be determined on how much money they have left.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard,
We
it's
don't
hard
know
to
yet.
know. Yeah.
And then next summer,
There's no
there's
plan
no
for when it
money.
runs out.
So then it's the district has to fully pay all the unemployment benefit.
Yep.
And the other piece, Jenny, is that we were fortunate here that we were able to find people willing to do the summer jobs. So maybe you can explain that. It has to be a job
Yeah,
exact.
it has to be a bona fide offer for a job that is exactly fitting what they do during the school year. So let's say we have a paraprofessional that works with a special education student all through the school year, and we have summer cleaning jobs. We have, summer paperwork jobs, just different things that could come up. That doesn't constitute a job that we could say was offered, if that makes sense. So the way it's written is really challenging for school districts, and this isn't just school districts. This is all of the businesses as well. But school districts are very unique in a few ways. Obviously, our positions in the summer look different because school is different in the summer. The work looks different oftentimes in the summer. But additionally, our funding is like no one else. The way we are funded, even cities are funded differently than school districts, where, there are things that, we can't just assess folks to do things that we need to do. If we get a hole in our roof, we can't just assess that, we have to figure out where that money is coming from. So we're funded completely differently, which is why I think we have a responsibility to communicate and advocate that we are looked at differently in regard to this. And I have this isn't anything negative against our summer employees. We have amazing summer employees, and they have stepped up. This has nothing to do with them, but what it does have to do with is potentially next year, we could have real challenges with the unknown budgetary impact, and then we'll have to make reductions other places. And I don't want that for our kids, and I don't want that for our employees.
So if we're adding on to Becker, just going along with what we talked about with the first resolution, just putting on solution language.
So the second resolution is separate, and what I was told by, who did I talk to this morning? Kim Lewis, is we can sign on to Becker, but there's also room, if Jeremy is open to it, for us to suggest certain language. And I would suggest, you can see, pulling back from special interest grants, I would suggest giving some solutions and
Yeah.
adding that to his language.
That's what I'm asking, because
yeah.
I don't see that here.
That's
And
right.
The first resolution you were talking about,
It does have that. very
having
clearly.
that backup of like,
Yep.
well, what is your solution? And I don't see that
Yep.
here, so
Yep.
I would want to add that. Or at
Totally
least,
agree.
Okay.
I think that's super important, and honestly, I brought some examples, just in case it did come up. It's super interesting, like what some of those special interest grants look like. And they're, here's one. Total amount available, $600,000 for a maximum 4-year grant for qualified external entity to develop and implement a charter school incubator program for charter school developer teams to create a strong understanding of charter school law, governance, financial staffing. That's a lot of money. $600,000 is like a lot of money. Funding available to a qualified external entity to develop and implement a governance board research study to analyze charter school board governance. Total amount available is $450,000 for a maximum 3-year grant. Like, right there, those are two things, two easy things that could help fund, you know, the requirements and mandates that were added. So that's what I mean when I say special interest. You know, I think it's important to point that out. And I'm not anti, you know, anything. It's not about that. But we have kids in front of us right now that will be impacted. So that's just one of the things.
So if we do when we do the resolution, I'm thinking that somebody can make the motion to approve it with the addition of
The solutions.
the solutions.
I think that's great.
Okay. Okay, further questions or comments? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion
Motion to approve?
with the.
With the solutions recommended by Renee?
I'll second.
Corinne, okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Rob Langheim, Molly Maniak,
Yes.
Corinne Hennon,
Yes.
Jenny Kuski,
Yes.
Deb Polly,
Yes.
Sarah Lanen,
Yes.
Lauren Pedersen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. On to all of our reports. We have all of our administrative team reports. Any comments on anything or any questions? I had a note here that I wanted to highlight, our activities director report, just a minute.
Hall of Fame stuff.
Yes, just to take note that it's exciting. We're going to be hosting the state quarterfinals for a football game here on November 8th for MSHSL. That's a great thing for us. And our Hall of Fame inductees, everybody get that on your calendar for October 4th, 5 p.m. We'll be inducting Josie Nelson Henry from the class of 2000 and Brittany Chambers from the JHS class of 2009. And, and then also the fact that our fall sports teams are going to be partnering with the Nickel Open. Let's see, that's our tennis, volleyball, boys and girls soccer and football teams will be wearing green socks. And then also the boys and girls soccer team will be hosting St. Peter on Saturday, September 21st, and they'll jointly be raising funds for cystic fibrosis. I think it's important for the community to realize that we do a lot of things outside of, to help other people. And that, it's just our staff and our kids and the things that they do to serve the needs of other people is really impressive and very important. Any other questions or comments or anything on any of the?
I just had a question on the elementary report, like with the goals. It said like 30% and 65% and 60% of like students meeting and exceeding grade level benchmarks. I just felt like that was low.
Yeah, that 30% threw me too.
Well, I mean, I'm like, so our goal is only have 60% of students like at that,
So-
proficiency level. I mean,
So
is that a normal?
procedurally, if you have questions about these reports, you reach out directly to them and copy me.
Yep.
Because she could probably speak to that. I'm not sure exactly what you're referencing right now, but our goals do need to be attainable. They are SMART goals, so obviously we want 100% of our students. And we absolutely want 100% of our students, but it depends on what strand they're talking about, where our kids landed with that in the previous year, and I don't have that in front of me, so.
No, and it probably came from like the data retreat, I'm assuming
Yeah.
too, like where the goal, like, right?
Yep. Yep. But if you do have a question about one of our directors' reports, one of our principals' reports, absolutely send them an email and copy me on that. And then oftentimes what happens is then I would share that out with the full group during a weekly update.
Okay, that's good to know. I just saw that and was curious.
Yeah,
like,
no, absolutely.
But yeah, that's a good thing to ask Melissa maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions about any of the reports? Yes. Yes, I do. Superintendent Evenson, would you like to give your report?
I was fine.
It's okay.
Totally fine.
I read it yesterday.
It's all good. It's all good. No,
Thank you, Superintendent. No.
no, I feel like I've been talking so much. I'm sorry. But yeah, just a reminder, we have the upcoming school board elections in November. We have 3 seats in this election cycle. Currently through this process, we have 3 incumbents and 3 additional community members for a total of 6 running. Back to school, this is the second time I put this out there, but I just want to remind families district calendars available on our website. It's always good to double check that. I want to say great job to our Jordan staff. Preparation for back to school, especially with all of the building and all of the things that were happening. My goodness, everybody stepped up to the plate and it was just awesome. So big thanks to the staff for that. Also our community that comes on our open house night, the engagement we have with back to school conferences, just awesome. So thank you to our families too for that. I want to mention the Raptor visitor management piece. At our last work session, Director of Technology, Stephen Damlow, reviewed with board members that we have purchased a new visitor management system called Raptor for the 3 building main offices. And so we'll be adding those with the elementary. When that phase is done, we will have that operational there. Also, the high school will be moving into that where they swipe their license. And then sometime this school year, we will be moving the middle school to that. So throughout the year, we will have a different system. So it'll be a learning curve, I think, but it is so good. I absolutely love that we will have this in place. And big props to Mr. Damlow. He hates it when I do this, but seriously, I feel like he's slept at school for the last month. All of the things that he's done to get us online and get the technology going. There are districts that have to hire consultant after consultant to do some of the things he does for us. So very grateful for that work. Building door system as well, replacing the current door access system. Oh gosh, yeah, the Raptor we have everywhere. It's the visitor access system that we will be moving to each of the buildings. So that'll be a really nice thing. It'll give us alerts if there's a door propped open. Stephen will get a text, or the principal or whoever is on that. And that's a big darn deal for us. We haven't had that in the past. So very excited about that. With building projects, obviously we're in phase 1, new spaces. At the high school, we gained occupancy of the new entrance this last week. That had been delayed by a couple of days based on the handicap accessible component that is electronic. We were still doing some of the wiring for the district component of that project, but we got access, and I was over there today and it was up and running. So that's a good thing. With the elementary, we have moved into phase 1.5, which means we're doing punch list stuff still on the first phase. The shelving went into the media center this last week. I know they are starting to load books and things. And then also I believe this week they're going to be pouring some of the concrete into the commons area and the office area, and then eventually the kitchen and gymnasium. So they're looking to have that buttoned up before winter so that that can be worked on and be done well ahead of spring. So lots happening. Excited to start thinking more about phase 2. That's going to be a big darn deal. I can't wait. So any questions? All right.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Evenson. Okay, on to committee reports. Budget Finance, we heard. Calendar is not met. City School, we are meeting
16th.
September 16th, which is next Monday. And that's the one where it's the full city council and the full school board.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry, you're certainly more than welcome to join us if you would like to. We do this twice a year, I think.
Annual is once a year.
Once a year, that we meet
Yep.
with the whole city council and the mayor and then the whole school board. And do you want to talk about the logistics?
Yeah, absolutely. I sent a draft agenda over to Tom on, I think, Friday before the end of the day. I assume we'll finalize that sometime, maybe tomorrow. But the plan right now is for us to meet in front of JES and tour phase 1, so everybody can kind of see, you know, what we've worked on and accomplished. And then we'll walk over to the high school so you all can see that completed project. And then we'll go to the union. I requested that space today. I haven't heard for sure if it's finalized, but I know it's available. And during the tour, I'll be giving the district updates so that when we get over to the union, we can talk about continued partnerships and then also any city updates.
And oftentimes the city will give us updates about what's going on with the road construction and projects, building projects and stuff like that. And then I presume that our regular committee city school meetings, I think the next one is it November?
I think it's October 14th.
Or
but
October, I mean?
I'd have to double
Yes,
check the
October
agenda.
14th, correct.
Are we doing 5:30 or 6:30 next week?
The one with the city is at 6:30. It should be on your calendar. If you're not seeing it, will you let me know just so I can make sure everybody gets it?
I have it on I just,
Okay,
I
okay,
wanted to make sure.
okay.
And then can we make sure that Henry gets the invite too? Okay. Okay, thank you. Community Ed Rec, Lauren or Corinne?
We haven't had a meeting since the last meeting, have we?
No, we met. We talked about run of the mill. I can do it. Yeah, we talked about run of the mill. We went over that policy, and then Cullen came here at workshop and talked about it more.
Okay, that's why.
So that was, we spent a lot of time on policy, talked about some new programs that are coming out in community rec. He asked for just some suggestions of, you know, what the community wanted. And then we talked about the 55 plus event, October 18th. So that will be breakfast, lunch, car show, band, house screenings. I think it's like 9 to 1. You don't remember that? You look confused.
No, I remember
You were
it, but
there.
I thought we already talked about
No,
that.
we met
because
August.
Colin was here, so.
No, we met
It
August
was-
19th, and then we met again, and Colin was here, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's
So-
why I was confused. I was
Got it.
like,
Yep, so those are the biggest things right now. Once we get past like August, or the October 19th or 18th event, I'm sure we'll start talking more about, Celebrate Jordan.
Didn't we just do that? I know. Yes. Curriculum and tech integration, we don't meet until October. Facilities hasn't met, meet and confer hasn't met. Negotiations, we haven't.
Yeah, Thursday, I haven't seen if let me just look and see if they accepted that meeting. Otherwise, we will shoot for the 19th. Just give me 1 second. I have 2 of 3 that have accepted. I just need to check with one more tomorrow. So,
Okay, and that was the 12th from 3 to 4.
3:30, well, you guys were at
Oh,
3.
3, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yep,
And that's Sarah, Lauren, and myself.
yep.
Policy,
No, we just
We-
had
no, we
that
just
special
did
one
those.
and then we just
Yep.
approved, so
Right.
Yep,
we're good.
We're good.
APAC, we had our first meeting of the year on last Thursday with the new officers. And it was basically, Sarah Miller Martin, kind of went through the calendar for the year and talked a little bit about budget, so it was pretty uneventful. They are having, an event to try to encourage, it's for parents, APAC parents and, students the 18th, out at the tap room to encourage parents and get more parents involved. Booster Club, Sarah?
Yep, Rob
Sarah?
attended the last one. I don't have the notes from that, but I do know that it's moved now from the tap room back here for the meetings, so, but I don't have the update from that. And I didn't get the last invite either, so I've let Rob know that I did not get that, so.
My understanding is that they'll be meeting at the CERC, and they're
Yes.
adding the online component so people can stream in, which is something I've been asking for since we started, so that's
Well, and that
awesome.
used to be the case. So
Yep.
it used to be before it moved to the tap
Yep.
room. They did it at the union, and there was the online option
Yep.
to join.
Well, it's nice for families, especially, we have families that want to get involved, but it's tougher if they have elementary age students. as well, because it sometimes backs into dinner time, bedtime, and that kind of thing. And it's easier to stream in and be able to do those things than get a sitter or whatever, figure out the childcare and then drive someplace. So I love that it offers an opportunity for everybody.
I agree.
Yep.
Okay. Foundation, Education Foundation. Molly.
Yep, so we met and talked about next Friday is your pollinate, that's a football meeting.
It is, this coming Friday?
Next Friday, the 20th.
Okay.
Yep, that'll be your poly night. Can't really, I mean, didn't have much else kind of going on in the meeting, just talking about some important dates coming up, talking about gala.
Do they have a date for the gala?
Yes, it is February 1st,
And they're doing it jointly with the Booster Club again, correct?
I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And thank you to them for presenting at the staff breakfast. You know, that was good, so hopefully they'll get some good benefits out of that. So they did a nice job. Legislative, we kind of talked a lot about that tonight. That will be gearing up as we start heading into the legislative session. MSHSL, like I said, we're hosting the quarterfinal for football, and I have a Region 2AA meeting I think it's next week. So I'll have a report the next time for that. Scale, Lauren or Superintendent? Oh, it was the breakfast.
It was the breakfast.
Staff breakfast.
Yep. Yep. I am preparing for the next scale meeting. I believe Shakopee might be the host for that meeting, and then they asked if all of the superintendents would do a quick 1-minute update for the district. And so we all submitted some slides as a part of his slide deck, and we'll be presenting a little update.
Would you like to explain for Henry's sake?
Sure.
what-
So scale is, actually scale is super unique. It is a really great group, collaborative group that has school district, it has county, township, city, the legislators. Like it's a great collaborative group. And not only do we have an educational component to that meeting once a month where we learn, about different things that might be happening within the Scott County area. But like we even had law enforcement, one time just sharing some things about their programming and things that happen, and just all kinds of interesting things. And so we work together also to advocate. So there's an advocacy component too, so that, we are looking at all aspects of legislation as a scale group. The 169 interchange project was a topic for a long time with that, and they advocated for that. They advocate for school level things. The SRO component was a big piece this last year as well. And so Lauren and I serve on that committee, and it's, once a month. So it's great.
So if I'm understanding correctly, it's like a group of collaborators, whether that be educators or city representatives or law enforcement, as you mentioned.
Yep.
That can come together, discuss things, and then go and advocate for them in whatever setting they might be in. such
Common
as
goals,
legislation.
really, for the betterment of Scott County, when you really think about that. And it's great. Like, you have mayors, you have city administrators, you have people from just every walk of life. It's great. So.
County commissioners.
Yep. Yep. Elected officials.
So you kind of get like a lot of different views from different
Yeah.
perspectives on the same issues?
Well, and then we are able to really learn where there's some crossover, because healthy schools benefit healthy communities. So, with the community aspect of different things, at the state level, there's that advocacy link too. So it's one of my favorite things.
Okay, SEAC, Holly? Did not meet. Southwest Metro. We did meet. Things are moving and shaking there. They've done a lot of restructuring and kind of restructured their administrative team. And they started some committees they took all of the superintendents, the 11 superintendents from the 11 member districts, and then the 11 board members, and divided us into subcommittees. Superintendent Evenson is on the executive committee. They meet once a month. I'm on the facilities and finance committee. There's 3 board members and 3 superintendents, along with Dr. Horton, the executive, or the, executive director of Southwest Metro. And another one is community engagement, and I forget what the third committee is. I don't remember what it is.
Engagement, executive, finance.
I don't know what that third one, anyway. So,
Yeah.
subcommittees that will be working, so it's a little bit more work involved there, but it's all good. Things are going well. They've had some good. Policy, sorry. Thank you. They've had some good success with hiring. They are hiring some international teachers. They're working on that, bringing them in. Yeah, so things are good there, so. And with that, I think that's all the committees, so we'll just very briefly go around and just share if there's anything pertaining to school that you want to share that's, you participated in.
Yeah. No, I've been trying to, I'm so excited that school is back, and, I mean, it's already feels like we're in this. And I think it is that way because a lot of the activities start before then, so by the time school starts. But I've been really trying to make it to all the different activities. Going to the boys and girls soccer game tomorrow night, even though I don't have I'm kiddo anymore. It's well committed to all of that. It's really exciting. Boys are 3-0. I'll steal your. And they won. They beat Holy Family for the first time ever. Ever. Well, you're just gonna, but like, oh my gosh, it's so excited. And we had, I think, the largest traveling student fan section
I wasn't there, so
as well. I mean, we just saw pictures. Okay, but like for a regular, I'm saying for a regular game, they all were in white. They did a whiteout. I mean, it's really exciting to see the excitement around the soccer program and that grow so much. But just, I think kids are just, ready. You see them at all, just even at Briggs's C-Squad game right now, there were so many students there. I think people were ready for that.
Great, good. Lauren?
she stole my
I did, I'm sorry, but I was so excited.
And you guys don't steal Henry's thunder. I could tell him.
No, I'm super excited about soccer season as well. I mean, the boys program is really growing, and I mean, they have what, 58, 59 students?
Over 60,
Over 60 now?
Over 60.
60 students, this is the biggest.
3 full
the
teams,
program
yeah.
Has ever been, and the fact that they're 3-0 is amazing. This is the first time ever that they did, beat Holy Family, so that was exciting and bummed that I wasn't there, but, I did hear it was a great game, and, so it'll be exciting to have all the students come out and support their soccer program at least home games for sure.
And it's fan night tomorrow night.
Oh, it's fan night tomorrow night? Yeah. But
Okay.
anyway, so, and the girls program.
Okay,
as
and then
well.
what they would do is merge theirs, okay. Yep.
That program also has great players that are playing at the same club, so, I'm not familiar enough yet with their, scores yet, just because I haven't, I was out of town, so.
Great. Molly?
But I'm happy that the school is back and we have a lot of things to do, so.
Thank you. Molly?
I have no update.
Okay. Corinne?
Nothing here.
Jenny?
Really? Nothing from either of you?
Well, I mean, I can, but it's fine.
Like your kids aren't tired coming home from school like mine? Well, my kids are doing football on Tuesdays and Thursdays, like the little kid one, and that's been going really well. I don't know. We're just busy. Tony coaches in the fall, so he's doing football, and that keeps us busy and on our toes. But otherwise, yeah, things have been going good. Kids are enjoying school.
Okay.
Yeah, I just second week of school, or well, second half week of yeah, you know what I mean. Second week of school here. I just think like being in the school, I can see that the teachers and the staff and the students are all just kind of getting into a groove, per se. I think it's, the reality is set in that summer's over and that people start, I know myself, I'm just setting into my normal routine again. And I think that in these next few weeks, it'll become more smooth and more, it'll just become a better process because of all the people that are getting used to it. I would also like to comment on the boys soccer team. I have many friends who are on the boys soccer team, and I see them in the halls, and they're very excited about the rest of their games. And I'm just cheering for them. I will be going to the game tomorrow night, I believe. I'm just really excited about this school year and all the activities that are going to be happening, and just this opportunity as well. Yeah.
Good, thank you. I just want to say it was a great start to the year, and I thought that the staff breakfast went really well. It was just fun, so glad that